So growing up, I guess my mom said I would always be a good lawyer because I would argue all the time. I was wanting to be a dentist or a vet, but then I learned you had to take science classes and I decided against it. Same thing with forensic pathology, though I still maintain that would have been a good fit. So how did I end up in a law school, huh? Well, let's start on my track on how I got here. So I went through French immersion all my schooling. Even my undergraduate was on French immersion at the University of Ottawa. I was always kind of good at school. I didn't need to study and I learned things pretty quickly. For my first couple of grades, I went to an all-French school, so my English wouldn't probably have been as good as the other kids. But I was really in love with reading, and so I kind of learned quickly that way. During high school, I decided that I wanted to be involved in crime prevention, and I loved math and social science, so I decided that a job in criminology was the place for me. I took drama and 2 law classes in high school just because I thought they would be fun. I loved drama and also decided to participate in a mock trial in grade 11 simply because I needed more people. I never really thought that I would go into either, nor was I particularly good at it. High school kind of felt like I was simply going through the motions in terms of school, though I did end up taking AP English, Math, and French, as there was no IB in my school. If there was an advanced class, I was taking it to feel challenged. I did rugby and our team was the best in Ontario, and that's not bragging. I would spend at least 3 extra hours at school if the classes were done, so I learned how to focus myself starting to get all my homework and readings done. I also was part of the book club, which increased my reading speed so I could read every book our club decided to talk about. I was lucky enough that I always got some kind of academic award each year, and I say lucky because my bad habit of not studying for exams continued during high school, which kicked my ass for some university. I got into criminology at U of O. I thought that I would end up in CSIS or doing stat can work like something illogical. I thought I wasn't doing enough. I heard these stories of all these people who were doing more, doing better, just better. So in my second year, after a particularly hard class, which might have been easier if I had actually paid attention, I decided to add a minor in psychology to my degree. This was during the pandemic, and I decided to take a class called The Psychology of Death and Dying, which I thought would help me through my anxiety about the situation. We had one little unimportant class about wills, and I was hooked. Something just clicked. I just wanted to know how I could help people feel comforted and take care of the family through wills. So yeah, one throwaway class ended up with me wanting to go to law school. Shortly thereafter, I got a job at the CRA. I kept thinking, taxes and wills in the States. This is what I want to do. I want to be really nosy with people's money. I decided to start looking into what I need to do to get into law school the summer before my 4th year. Yeah, please don't be like me and decide maybe a little sooner than 6 months before the applications are due. I signed up for the August LSAT so I could try out a test before the final ones in December. Over the summer, I got very depressed. I threw myself into my work. I did well enough that when the time came, I asked both my mentor and my boss for reference letters. However, this also meant that I did not have the energy or focus to study or practice for the LSAT. Oh, sorry, side note here. If you are in Canada, simply buy the LSAT. Don't buy the package that will send it to the schools on your behalf. I think it's called CAS, or at least it was 2 years ago. That's only for schools in the States. So if you want to apply to Canadian schools, don't do it. Or you'll end up losing money if you're not lucky enough to ask for a refund in time. Okay, sorry, back to the LSAT. Again, I was very lucky to be naturally good at the logic puzzles, and since I had been a voracious reader all my life, the other questions about synthesis and answers about reading a paragraph came easier to me than some of my classmates from their stories. Going in there and having a pit in my stomach about knowing that I was not in my best place to do the best possible work, I wrote it. I ended up with getting 168, I think, but now I had the biggest hurdle of trying to get a letter of reference from a professor. I had one professor who I loved in my 3rd year, and I'd always participated in his class, so I kept doing that, and I started going to his office hours, and I ended up asking him if he would be willing to write me a letter of reference, which he graciously did. So why did I end up deciding to go to law school? Pure luck, that I happened to have feelings of inadequacy and decided to add a minor. There being a pandemic that led me to taking a course. How did I get into law school? Also pure luck. I didn't work nearly as hard as some people, and I just happened to have amazing teachers and people who were willing to vouch for me. I also worked hard. I graduated summa cum laude. I worked hard through university at my job, and most of all, I was a nice person which got classmates and professors willing to help me out when I was struggling. This does not mean I waltzed into law school. I got rejected from my dream school, I got waitlisted on a couple others, and I got accepted into 2. I decided to go to Queen's Law because the tuition was a lot cheaper, and I always wanted to go to Queen's. My tips if you want to go to law school. Try to learn a new language. If you're monolingual, this is, in my experience, will help you see words in new ways, which may also help you argue or think outside the box. Learn to read faster than you are now. If you hate reading, law school is not for you. And if you can pick up your reading speed by even a little, you'll be saving loads and loads of time over the school year. Do some kind of public speaking or presentation course if you can. This will help you feel more comfortable answering or asking questions in class. And teachers care about participation, and they will be more likely to go out of their way to help you. Also, you're gonna have to present, and there's no way you can do it just in front of the teacher and your partner. You will need to present in front of the whole class, or one day in front of a judge, most likely. If it's possible, try to get to know your professors and go to their office hours. This isn't the case in both law school and undergrad, as this will help you understand more, as well as they will be more willing to speak up for you in terms of jobs, post-schooling, or even if there's something bothering you. Most of all, I cannot overestimate the importance of being a nice person. I was helped by so many people in terms of support, both personally and academically. I would not be here without the help from people who didn't need to go out of their way.